Welcome aboard, Skylark Outdoors here, and today we're reviewing the Sunstation 32 CCX, which we've got right here. Now, this is a performance-oriented boat. I'm going to take you on a tour of it. We're going to go over some of the features, and then I'm going to go through the specifications on the Sunstation 32 CCX. What's really cool about this boat is that at 32 feet, you can pretty easily trailer it. It does weigh under 9,000 pounds wet, so you can get by with a 250 or a 2500 vehicle to be able to tow this. But what really makes this vehicle cool is that you can get up to 85 miles per hour on this 32-foot twin engine boat. So this is going to outperform a lot of boats, even with more horsepower and with more engines, but you're going to have lower maintenance because you've only got two engines on this, a typical twin, rather than going with 4 or 5 engines. And that has a lot to do with the hull shape of this boat and some of the performance oriented features. So you can see you've got a couple of seats in the rear, then you've got some cup holders and a little station there with like a sink and box. So that's nice that you've got that. You've got some handles to be able to hold onto while you're on this boat. So if someone wants to stand right behind the helm, that's a great option. You've got really comfy helm seats, and you definitely need that when you're flying by at 85 miles an hour. So you can see the layout here. We've got our steering console, we've got dual Garmin, you've got a Simrad there. Now, one of the other things about these boats is you can highly customize everything you want on there. And then underneath the console, you do have a little bit of a head here and a little bit of a berth. So you could definitely sleep in there if you wanted. It's tight. One person could do it, maybe two. You'd need some cushions there in the middle, but you've got your head underneath that seat right there, and then you've got enough to lay down, take a nap, or just maybe stay one night. Not a lot of other accoutrements in terms of like a galley or a kitchen, but this is a performance-oriented boat, so the fact that they have a little space that you could take a nap, stay overnight in the marina, or be out on an out island and stay inside for a little bit, still to me is kind of a nice feature because it doesn't really seem like it takes up too much space in the boat. They've integrated it well where you've got it right underneath these bow seats. So you've got the forward facing console seats, and then you've got two bow benches here, so plenty of room for people up in the front. And then you actually have a monitor up here for speed so your passengers can see just how fast you are flying by when you're on this boat. So that's kind of a cool feature. And then you can see a couple of nice seats right here. So those would probably be my pick of where to sit. They're kind of like a cockpit chair, leaned back a little bit. So even at high speeds, they probably feel pretty comfortable. And you're kind of in the seat rather than on top of it. They've got some padding both on the sides and in the middle there. Plenty of cup holders. Now, one thing about this T-top is you can customize it all kinds of ways. But this is designed to be a walkable T-top. So if you want to put downriggers on there, or outriggers, whatever you want to do, you definitely can do that with this. It is a structural top. They said you can stand on top of this. You can see your seat back here. Now it's a two-person helm seat, but you could probably fit three people, maybe four if you really squeezed them in, but designed for two people. And then you've got just a nice layout here for the controls, everything really clear. And then you've got your helm and windshield and all that, and a couple of cup holders. So all nice features to have on this boat. Now, these are mostly powered by the Mercury Marine engine, so you've got a lot of different options with what you can go with the Mercury Marine. You can see just how beefy this top is on top of the console as well, and it is designed to stand on top of, do whatever you want to on top of, and you can add all kinds of different options, like if you want rod holders on this. But these are performance-oriented boats, and how they get that is both the shape of the hull and then the lightweight material construction in this, and really getting a boat that is designed to be fast. So it's not designed to be a do-it-all boat. This is designed to be a fast boat. You can see you've got your 3 seats here in the back, and then kind of that walk-through seat, which I like. It allows you easy access, and then plenty of space here on the back for kind of like a swim platform getting on or off the boat, as well as you got like a rod holder in the back there already. You can see the step tall on the sides when we go back to this view. So it's the narrowness of this hull which is going to reduce drag on it, because for a boat this size, 9 feet is pretty narrow. At 32 feet, you're going to see a lot of like Cruising boats and boats with a cabin in them are going to be closer to that 10, 11, 12-foot range, which makes them pretty hard or difficult to trailer because of the limitations on going across the road in a lot of states with boats over 8'6". 8'6" is pretty much the universal width that you can tow something without a permit. Now, depending on your state, location, where you're at, interstate, all that, 9 foot shouldn't be too much of an issue, and that's barely noticeable, that extra 6 inches. So let's go over some of the specifications of the Sunstation 32 CCX. 32 feet, 34 foot 6 with the motors on, 39 feet on the trailer. 9-foot beam, so we talk about that narrow beam already. 24-inch draft, very shallow draft for this boat. Yet because of the hull shape, dead rise, and how this is designed, you're going to be able to fly through that chop. This is designed as an offshore boat to really soak up those waves and take the hits. You've got a 161-gallon fuel tank, and with a cruise of approximately 2 miles per gallon at 45 miles per hour, that gives you a 320-mile range approximately. So fairly good range on this. Now that's going to change with all the different engine combinations, but you're most likely to get the best fuel economy with what this one is set up with, which is the 300 horsepower twin Mercury R racing engines. Now you can go all the way up to twin 500Rs, which is 1,000 horsepower max rating for this boat. So that is a lot of engine. But they say the actual fastest combination with this is 85 miles an hour with the twin 450Rs. So just something to consider there. Even with the 300s, 350s, you're right around that 70 to 75 mile an hour range or mile per hour range with this boat. So you get a little bit, about 10 more miles per hour if you max horsepower out. Well, 75 miles an hour is pretty darn fast on a boat. But if you want to go there, you're going to have to go with the higher engines. I would probably personally go with the 300s just because of the number of 300 engines are out there and the serviceability of the 300s, as well as their proven reliability in comparison to some of the other things out there. There's just fewer people that are used to working on a 500, 450R. 300, you're going to see that on a lot of different boats. So just manufacturing wise, you're going to have more parts availability, maintenance theoretically should be easier. 11 foot high on the trailer. Bridge clearance is 7 foot 10 if you've got a bridge going out from your dock. Keel to top is 9 foot 10 inches. You've got a 13-gallon water tank, 9,000 pounds wet, 7,500 pounds dry. And then we went through that top speed if you get the max horsepower or the 450Rs right around 85 miles per hour. So another couple cool things about Sunstation is these are actually made in Michigan. A surprising number of boat manufacturers in Michigan. I think Beneteau even has a plant near Cadillac or in the Michigan region. These are all also made in Michigan. And you know, Michigan has a lot in common with Florida, other than Michigan is much colder than Florida, also surrounded by water, which leads to a fair amount of boat manufacturing. And Mercury, obviously based in Wisconsin on the Great Lakes. So there's a lot of boating heritage and a lot of boating in the Great Lakes. And I think it's pretty cool that this performance-oriented boat, which most people would consider to be an offshore boat, is actually being built in a Great Lakes state. And people say, oh, well, it's just a lake. The conditions can't be that tough. Well, if you've never been on the Great Lakes, I can tell you they can get just as crazy, if not crazier, than the ocean because of just the way that the waves formulate in the Great Lakes. It can be choppy, it can be rough, and yes, you can get that in the ocean, but it always seems like the period of the waves in a lot of cases in the ocean are much larger than the choppy Great Lakes washing machine effect, as I like to call it. So really cool performance-oriented boat. I recommend if you see one of these at a boat show, you get on it, see what it feels like, try and get a test ride, see how they are. The hull shape in some respects reminds me a lot of like offshore kind of fishing boats like an Intrepid that are a narrower hull, a lighter weight hull, and also go with the twin engine concept. I like the speed with twins. I like maximizing the power to weight ratio and just having two engines to maintain while giving you a fast boat. So it also has the limitations of a smaller cabin, but you still have a place to take a nap, sleep overnight kind of thing. I like that just because the less maintenance you have to do, the less engines you have, that's less room for error in terms of things that you need to maintain, winterize, go through annual checkups, all that kind of stuff. So it just simplifies things where you're going to get more time to boat and less time this sitting at the marina getting fixed for whatever reason. Once you have four engines, you've doubled the probability of something failing. And if you've ever had a boat that has three engines, four engines, five, six engines, you know that they just don't perform the same when one engine is out. Just kind of wonky, kind of goofy, and it really depends on which engine is out. If you have one on the right side, left side, in the middle, depending on all that stuff, it can make your life even harder. So just the simplicity of twin engines getting 75 miles an hour out of this boat, I love that. And you're just going to have a lot of fun on a boat like this. I feel like you can get where you want to go fast. I think about where would you go in 75 miles an hour if you're in Fort Lauderdale. You could get to the Bahamas in pretty much under an hour. If you're in Miami, you could get pretty far down the Keys at 75 miles an hour. If you're in Lake Michigan, maybe you're in Wisconsin, maybe you're in Michigan, you could go all the way across the lake in about an hour. So you could do Chicago to, let's say, St. Joe's, Michigan pretty easily. You could go up the coast to some of the other places there. Or if you're in Detroit, you could get to even Mackinac Island in a day, no problem. If you're ripping on this thing 75 miles an hour, and maybe in Lake Erie, you could go pretty far with that as well. Or just, let's say you're somewhere on the East Coast, you could make some really cool trips in a couple hours with this, and especially with that 320 mile range before needing to refuel. And because of the lightweight and the narrowness of the hull, 2 miles per gallon is really a pretty excellent fuel economy for a boat with this performance and size, and a cruise capability of 45 miles an hour at 2 miles a gallon. That's pretty phenomenal. You can get places pretty far with a pretty good fuel economy. So thanks for watching this review and tour of the Sunstation 32 CCX. We hope you enjoyed. Please give us that thumbs up, subscribe, and click any links below if you want to support us. We'll see you next time.